Elegon is a solo indie-developed MMORPG project that's only been in development for about 2 months now, and somehow it's already open for public playtesting. And that alone probably tells you one of two things. This is either going to be a disaster waiting to happen, or something worth paying attention to. But before we can get into any of that, let me ask you a question. Are you actually looking for a new MMO? Because let's be honest, MMOs have not been doing great lately. It's been about 15 years now since the last major MMO in the West could be considered a breakout success. Games like Guild Wars 2, Final Fantasy XIV, they're still popular today. But very few of these Western MMOs have truly stuck. As an MMO gamer, it truly feels like the slow death of something I love. The genre has become absolutely riddled with all these over-monetization tactics, short-lived hype cycles, and massively inflated budgets, pretty much exclusively for these games that just never come out or fade into obscurity very quickly. And the community, myself included, almost always revert to these 2004 games like old school RuneScape or classic WoW. So where exactly does Elegon fit into any of this? Well, Elegon is a new MMO created in Godot, motivated very heavily by the desire to play a game that truly captures the vibes of classic WoW. And I think the best way for me to explain what Elegon is comes directly from some quotes the dev, Keon, mentioned in his very first devlog. And I'm paraphrasing here slightly. I'm trying to build a game that I would like to play myself. A game like World of Warcraft Classic. I'm talking any version of the game in and around vanilla all the way through to Wrath of the Lich King. I'm trying to create a game where once people have logged in and paid their subscription fee, there's no expectation to spend any more money on the game. Everything you see, achieve, and earn in the game, by yourself or through other players, is earned entirely through in-game means. So very clearly this is aimed at people who love games like classic WoW, and also those who absolutely detest pay-to-win and pay-to-convenience monetization. What I think is pretty cool about Elegon is it's trying to be a traditional, old-school MMO experience in 2026. So I actually found Elegon through my YouTube recommendations on Christmas Day of all days, and I binge-watched every video they made. So I do have to say, if you want to follow along the journey like I did, I highly suggest that you subscribe to them. I personally was so engaged that I actually subscribed to the Patreon on day one. Normally I wouldn't be so engaged with the project, not something like this, not this early. There's currently barely any content, so it'd make it pretty easy to dismiss. But I think the reason Elegon is worth talking about now at this early stage isn't the content at the moment, maybe it will be down the line, but it's the foundations. The core foundations of the game and the community that they've built. It's pretty impressive, and honestly, foundations of where MMOs truly can make it or break it. It's a small, but it's an already very engaged community. And it kind of feels like there's this chance to mold it in the right direction. Now let's talk about this playtest that just came out. This is a playtest where you had to request access through Steam, and it's not a content-heavy experience. That was made very, very clear by the dev. Pretty much, this playtest is about getting people in, stress testing all the core elements and systems and functions of the game. So right now, the game has an open world, a character creator, enemy entities like foxes and wolves throughout the map, basic auto-attack systems with also one ability per class available, 2 very basic kill quests, we'll talk about that in a second, and most recently added an inventory system. So it's very clearly early, but with a little dev experience myself, I have to give props. This is extremely impressive, especially given that this is solo developed. It's had relatively rapid progression, and it absolutely has potential moving forward. So Elegon uses something called Spacetime DB for its networking layer. I personally don't know much about Spacetime DB, but Keon really believes in it, and he believes it's got quite strong online performance. So this was one of the first things that I looked out for during the playtest. Being in Australia, a constant struggle. I cannot tell you how much I have to deal with this through MMOs and online gaming in general, is my high ping and latency. but this felt pretty smooth, and I honestly felt very little, if any, networking issues. I played for a good couple of hours on stream, and even without much available gameplay, I've got to say there's actually a lot that surprised me about this game. Elegon absolutely nails the ambience. You start in Amberwood, the first zone of the game, and it immediately gives off a calm, nostalgic feeling. It's that same feeling you'd get from Elwyn Forest in World of Warcraft, or Ascalon pre-Searing. It's good stuff. The sound design is already quite fantastic as well. I don't know whether it's just audio assets that Keown is using, if he's created them himself or commissioned them, but a lot of the sound effects and the music fits perfectly, and it really gives this game its own unique identity. Probably the only sound I disliked was the warrior's ability. Slightly too loud and harsh, but honestly the sound effects are quite pleasant overall. The controls also feel very polished. It's shocking how many games these days, both big and small, completely fumble basic movement, with sluggish input, janky animation, or awkward momentum. Now there's definitely room for improvement here, don't get me wrong, but smooth movement in an MMO is a requirement. It's foundational to an MMO. And so I'm pleased to say that Elegon already feels really good to control. The only thing with controls that I think would be better is strafing. Allowing strafing would probably perfect that flow of movement, but that's just my opinion. Adding auto run and even a walk toggle would also be pretty nice quality of life improvements, especially for a stylish indie game like this. Just imagine walking around through Amberwood, getting some nice screenshots. And speaking of picking up some nice screenshots, currently the camera doesn't actually zoom in all the way to first person. And I think that's an absolute must add. This again is a personal opinion, but the current maximum zoom it feels awkward, it blocks your view, and it doesn't really serve a purpose to be that zoomed in. Visually, I actually really like the character's style. It's minimalistic, and one thing I'm unsure about is if that's intended, or if that was just a placeholder thing. It kind of reminds me of Megabonk. It's one of my favorite games of last year, and it kind of gives Elegon a really nice, unique flavor, instead of, falling into that common AAA budget trap of trying to make everything look super realistic just for it to look out of date within a couple of years. Now the combat balance, it's all over the place, but that's not the focus at this early stage. Especially considering there are two quests that I mentioned before. So quest 1 is kill 3 wolves, and quest 2 is kill 100 wolves. So yeah, keep that in mind if you do intend to play Elegon's playtest. When you start up a character, you'll be met with a screen, and it asks you to select one of the 2 available classes, with the third one being available soon. The 2 available classes are Warrior and Mage, and I played both. But honestly, Mage felt significantly better. It was just stronger and much more enjoyable. Auto-attacking at the moment is just straight up the same between both classes, but the abilities are what's different, and Fireball, it was just so much better. It just offers far more utility. You can use it from range, it's got more damage than the Warrior's ability. The range! And it can even be casted without even looking at your enemy, which probably shouldn't happen. So, should you actually care about Elegon? Elegon is not going to be for everyone. If you're looking for a fast-paced, action-heavy MMO combat, constant dopamine hits, an endgame-focused MMO, or something that replaces your main MMO overnight, this isn't it. But if you're someone who loves the pacing of games like Classic WoW or old-school RuneScape, you're someone who enjoys existing in a world rather than just rushing through it. You're tired of pay-to-win models, and you miss the slower, more deliberate MMO design, that grindy effect. Elegon might be something worth keeping an eye on. This feels like a game that's being made for a very specific MMO type of player. And honestly, to me, that's refreshing. There is the elephant in the room though, and that's the fact that it's a solo dev. And if you've been around MMOs long enough, you'll know that just sets off so many alarm bells. We've all seen how this usually ends. It's burnout, it's scope creep, years of silence even from Kickstarter MMOs like this. That promised idea that never quite makes it. What I will say though is, and this is just my personal experience, Keone, the dev, he comes across as very grounded about what Elegon is, and what it isn't right now. Elegon's not trying to change the genre or be the next MMO. This is pretty much just a project where he's trying to make a game for himself. That, for me, it separates what Elegon is from a lot of other projects. The ones that might collapse under their own ambition before they even become playable. But the real challenge for Keone, it isn't going to be making the MMO. No, we've seen that he can do it. It's going to be sustaining one. And that's really where Elegon sits right now. Cannot wait for the next playtest, especially one that's gameplay focused. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a like, and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more content like this. That's all for this time. Thanks for watching, goodbye for now.